This is our rep from the Country Lunch Show on WOOL 91.5 FM from Bellows Falls, Vermont. Let's get back with our interview with Paleo Mountain Man and BudCat7.
Serpent. It looks identical to the Algonquin horned serpent, yet they call it a bird. So you have the idea of the serpent and the phoenix, I think, you know, highly prevalent in many of the folklore and mythologies of these societies, and certainly they incorporated it into war, as we know from our research. That's Jimmy's and my research that we did up there by Jimmy in Vermont.
You can find that
we
on...
were able to tell the world that all the walls are serpents. All of them are serpents. And we found that out by the eye that indicated the serpent and the build in the wall.
At 12:30.
Right?
Yep. And you can find my channel is Paleo Mountain Man. And I do YouTube channels. I show a lot of what I find, a lot of the artifacts I find. I try to talk about it. I don't give a whole lot of narrative because I don't know the whole story yet, but I do show a lot of artifacts that will absolutely change the way you think about things, because no one has ever described these things.
Like you say, it's open. It's open to discussion because we don't know a lot about the histories of these ancient people because they've been largely ignored by mainstream archaeologists and anthropologists.
That's right.
They've ignored that whole part of the story.
That's right. And they're not even concerned about that. They're concerned about the books they've written, but if you put the books down and write your own book, you'll come up with the answers, and that's how people push the story forward.
This is the thing I go over on my channel is that, you know, they're not letting the evidence speak for itself. What they're trying to do is they have a preconceived notion about what the past is from their books and what's dictated to them through academia. So they have a preconceived notion about it, and they're always trying to make the evidence fit their preconceived notion instead of letting the evidence speak for itself and maybe revise some of their notions of the past. They can't have that because that upsets the whole apple cart.
No, you can't even trust anything you've learned anywhere unless you've researched it yourself, I think.
You can't.
Because
you can't.
You're just taking someone's word for it, and as we know, there's agendas everywhere. And unless you research it yourself, you know, it's probably better. It's better not to talk about it.
You're going to get the canned speech. That's what you're going to get.
Right.
You know, you're not going to get a real overall picture of what actually occurred. What you're going to get is a premeditated canned speech that sort of directs you in a sort of direction where you sort of stop thinking about all of those things. They don't want you thinking about those things.
Once you look at these things as being undescribed and not what you've thought they were, it will change your perspective on everything else you believe, because it has that effect. It's that powerful. Just from one stone wall can change your whole perspective on everything you've ever thought about or believed, and you can put your own. You start putting your own narrative on the subject, because you can. The subject has not been written.
It's open to, as long as it's a theory and a hypothetical, whatever it is that they come up with, it's open to discussion.
That's right.
And
there's a lot of people out there doing that. They're doing the research, and I think it'll catch on. I'm not sure. The change is coming. It most definitely is, because I read so many articles now where people are starting to realize they go out into the woods, they look at the walls, they take a careful look at the walls, and after contemplating a little bit, they say to themselves, well, this doesn't make any sense from a colonial or settler context to me. Okay, there's a lot more people going out there, and they're starting to look at these things and saying, hey, this is an Aboriginal construction. This was not constructed by colonists or settlers. So it definitely is. I see in some mainstream circles, historical societies like Rhode Island, et cetera, it's starting to break.
I think it's it's
I think
catching
you're
on
right.
more. You
I
got
think
more
you're right.
people interested in it.
And just keep showing and keep talking about it and keep learning about it. And it's funny because one stone wall can change your whole paradigm. One stone wall. They have that much
Well, as
power.
I said, even the
Just
people
look at them
looking at the
closely.
wall sort of miss some of the things. Like, for instance, the eyes in the wall that we found on your
Right.
property and up on Mount Ephraim there, and that some of the subs on my channel have sent me in from the Catskills, etc.
I found even
That
more of them since we started looking. And
yeah,
they're everywhere.
and I'm seeing a lot more stuff myself when I look at the wall. So not only that, all that information that's in there too, in this language that looks to me, the way that it's built in stone, that it's similar to Mayan and Aztec type codices languages. That's what it's looking like to me, that these small, flat, vertical stones and horizontal stones constructed next to each other with a niche right next to it or whatever. These are words, and that's what I believe. I believe that it's some sort of relationship to the Mayan or Aztec languages that are built into those walls.
I was looking at
And,
the stone wall, one part of it, and it had a lot of geometrical shaped stones, like dots and
definitely.
dashes, and it looked exactly like a glyph, like what
We
you're
found a
talking
bunch
about.
of those. And down by your property, even with some of the symmetrical designs in there, where they found these like-shaped stones and put them together. Just amazing stuff. I got to get back there and take some more photographs, because you've got some incredible stuff down there, Jimmy.
And there's more. There's more out there that we haven't even looked at.
Oh, we only looked at a fraction of
Right in
what
the area.
possibly could be looked at.
And down the ridge, all the way to Rockingham, there's got to be spotted with. There's got to be sites everywhere just not known about. And all it takes is walking through the woods. I've seen sites. I've seen piles, giant boulders with piles of stones on them, in the woods and things like that. That no one knows
Yeah,
about.
that seems
No
to
one
be a
talks
very
about.
common feature. It seems to be that you have these boulders with stones either built as cans or, as we've talked about, it's part of their spiritual practices or their ceremonial practices.
Right. You place a stone every time you walk by, maybe, or
Absolutely.
something like that.
Absolutely. That was one of the revelations that we came up with through our research as well.
But just the glyphs in the walls, the language. Other people are starting to talk about that language written in walls. Maybe that the
Finally.
nubs left in walls are a language. Who knows? But there is language in stone, language in walls. There's memory in them, and they're very powerful.
Well, of
And
the Northeast, and that was something that I don't think anybody in the whole world who ever researched the subject, I don't think anybody came up with that. And we're the first one.
right, exactly.
And your website is what? What's your YouTube website, Jim?
Paleo Mountain Man.
On YouTube. And BudCat, what's your site?
Stonewall Research, BudCat7. So
Okay.
you'll find that if you just type that in on YouTube. It's 3 separate words: Stonewall Research, BudCat7, and you'll come up with my page there.